All right, welcome in, guys. Phil Jones, Larry Godwin with me on this Friday night special edition of Extra Point, our scoreboard show. Normally, of course, we're coming to you on Fridays after the game, but there are no games tonight. So we thought, Larry and I thought we would just kind of talk with you guys, chat with you guys tonight, give you an update on everything that went on last night, talk to you about that, and of course, get your thoughts on the state championship games coming up. And Larry, I thought, why don't, as a bonus tonight, let's get everybody's opinion as we go through the show on how they feel about their favorites for 2026. We'll get into
Oh,
that as well.
that's a great question, man. I really hadn't thought too far ahead in
Yeah,
2026, but
yeah,
it's just right around the corner. It'll be here
yeah,
before we know
absolutely,
it.
absolutely, absolutely. So, Larry, we'll be able to see the comments tonight, Larry. I've got my feed up here on my phone, but didn't know if you want to put that up for we can read
Yeah,
some of the
let me go
comments
ahead and
tonight.
do that because that's a pretty convenient feature.
Yeah, it really is. Really is. And again, I said it before. I want to give Larry props. He helped us get this Restream, this new format with Restream. It's a new streaming service that we're doing. I hope you guys like it. Again, we'd really love to hear your thoughts on the new look. I absolutely love it. David Lee, Thomas County Central High, checking in. Good to see you again, David. Appreciate you. Merry Christmas to everybody, by the way. Gabe Garrett checking in. Gabe says your Class A D1 prediction was a little off. Tombs on top. I'm kind of going the other way with Worth. But Larry, we definitely want to get your thoughts on those, all the games as well.
These games that are coming up, Phil, are going to be fun. They're going to be very, very fun. So whether you're talking about the highest classification or the lowest, one of the most intriguing storylines to me is Buford finally going to win a state championship at the highest classification?
Yep.
That's very intriguing to me. I was talking to someone about it today, a Valdosta fan. And so here we are, Lowndes guy and a Valdosta guy, and we're talking about Buford in the state championship. And we're both talking about, does Carrollton have the horses to overcome Buford's depth at just about every position? Phil, I think they do, man.
Now, wait a minute. Now, you're not talking about me being a Valdosta guy, are you?
No.
Oh, okay.
This was earlier this afternoon. I was standing in a store, actually buying something from a store owner who happened to be a Valdosta fan. And this is the topic that we were talking about today.
All right, my man, Luke Nelson, a.k.a. Big Buford, is in the house. What's up, Luke? Good to see you, my man. Also, good to see Day-Day White checking in. Day-Day, where you been, dog? Day-Day's thought he'd just come out of hibernation because it's Creekside. Seminoles are about to try to get it done. I definitely want to talk about Creekside and Benedictine. I mean, I know everybody's wanting to talk about Thomas County Central and the juggernaut of a machine that they are.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to get everybody's take on Creekside, man. I mean, they are just rolling over people. Larry, I don't know if Benedictine can stop them. I don't know. I mean, I am picking Benedictine but it's a toss up. I mean, wouldn't surprise me if Creekside wins. I don't know. But Day-Day, great to see you, man. Definitely want to hear your thoughts. Luke Nelson, Luke's son, Canaan, is a linebacker for Buford. I know they're getting ready. And Larry, you mentioned Buford Carrollton. We got to keep in mind that the winner of this Buford Carrollton game is going to be a state champion, but they're also very well could be crowned the national champion. So it's a 2-for-1 deal to the winner of this.
Absolutely. We've got some Buford fans on there. You mentioned Luke Nelson, and I'd like to ask those guys, Phil, what I talked about today is when I gave an example to someone that I was talking about today, that I'm used to, a team coming into Martin Stadium or a team going into Bazemore Hyder, and those two teams basically out athleting another team, right? And so games sometimes when we play another talented team, it'll stay close for about 3 quarters, and then either Lowndes or Valdosta will start pulling away because we just have more athletes, more depth. And to me, that's the way Buford plays football. They're not a very shiny or flashy team. They just have athletes all over the place, and they just wear and grind teams down. And I think that's what happened to Valdosta the other night. Valdosta got out athleted, for lack of a better way to put it. They just got, Buford was able to grind down Valdosta, and Valdosta didn't have any more to give. So Luke, question for you Buford fans. Is Buford going to be able to play that brand of football against someone like a Carrollton who probably has the horses, that has the depth at all the positions to keep up with Buford? So what do you think?
Good question, Larry. Good, very good points there, Larry, for sure. All right, Johnny Holcomb, speaking of the Cats. Johnny, what's up, brother? Johnny and I were talking a little Alice in Chains earlier tonight, a little rock and roll. Gotta love it. Football, no football, so what we're going to do, man? We're going to talk a little rock and roll, baby. I love Jerry Cantrell, Alice in Chains. I love him, man. But Johnny Holcomb, big AIC fan as well. He's a big Cats fan. Johnny, what do you think? I know Johnny's got some thoughts on the Cats as well. Heather Knight Rodriguez, big Thomas County Central fan. What's up, Heather? Thanks so much for checking in. Juancimo Villalobos, Gainesville fan. What's up, Phil? Go Big Red as always. What a dominant game last night against Rome. Time to go get that trophy. Absolutely. Daddy White, I do see you. So your son's been in college. I got you, brother. Well, hey, man, that's all you had to say. If kids are doing great, then everything is just a bonus. Luke says, I like Coach Britt here. Yeah, I do too. I'm a big Danny Britt fan, Larry, and Luke. Same to you. Kendrick Sanders, TCC, is in the house. What's up, brother? Luke Nelson is answering your question, Larry.
Okay.
Luke says, we are locked in. These boys all know each other, and it will be a game for the ages. I agree with that. But I hear what you're saying, Larry, because I tell you, Thomas County Central, Creekside, and Carrollton, and I guess we can throw Buford in there. Man, those four teams are really looking, just completely dominant right now. I mean, unbelievable. Listen, that game last night, and Larry, I'll kick it back to you here. I'm going to let you finish your thought on that. Look, you guys know I've been doing the Roswell Coaches Show, one of the 6 shows we've been doing all year. Look, they went up there with they went down to Thomasville with a lot of confidence. They played well, 21-21. This is Roswell and Thomas County Central last night in the semifinal, 5A. And they played well. They went to the locker room tied. But, Larry, it's like I told Anna Limoges, who we work together here at ITG Next. She said, pretty good game. They're going back and forth. I said, Anna, what's going to happen? Thomas County Central is about to come out, and they're about to put up 30. And there's no slight on Roswell. It's just that's the way Thomas County Central is, man. They are an absolute machine. Like when they want to turn the switch on, they're able to do it. But anyway, just my thoughts on some of the teams that we're talking about tonight, Larry.
Yeah, Phil, just to get everybody caught up, just follow the path that Central took through the playoffs. They obliterated Woodstock in the first round, 73-14. Then they did the same to Villarica, 55-14.
Yep.
Then they ran into a Woodward Academy that came out of the gate swinging, right? They went up on Central 19-0. And when I saw that score, I was texting with our friend Cole Moore, right? And so, I can sense a little worry. But you know what, Phil? It was like what you just said a couple of minutes ago. Thomas County Central has the ability, like a lot of good teams do, that eventually goes on to win a championship, is that there's no panic in those teams. Even if they get behind early, there's no panic, and they're able to turn on a switch. I don't know what Justin Rogers says to those kids, but it's like he literally flips a light switch. You saw that against Woodward Academy. You saw that the other night against Roswell. Last night, it was 21-21 at the half. There was no panic in Central. They came out and just bulldozed Roswell in the second half.
Yep. It's unbelievable. And this is what they do. You were calling out the scores a while ago, and it's funny you did that. I actually was doing that because I wrote the story last night, just a brief story, put it on our website. It was probably, 12:30, 1 a.m. this morning, actually, when I wrote it.
Yeah.
and posted it on our website, so that's what a lot of people would be the first thing that they see when they search Gainesville, Thomas County Central. And if you search Gainesville, Thomas County Central, our story, our site is one of the first ones that come up. It's the magic of search engine optimization. But anyway, I was writing those scores down: 73-14, 55-14, 49-19. That was that Woodward Academy game you just talked about, Larry. And then 49-28 last night. I mean, it just domination. It's like whenever they want to turn it on, they turn it on. But now we've got Gainesville on the other side. Larry, let's talk about the Gainesville Red Elephants for a second. I had said that when all this was going on, Larry, with the GHSA, that this was going to have one of two effects for Gainesville.
Okay.
It was either, obviously, if they were not able to get those players back, things would not be looking good going up against Hughes. Agree?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
No doubt.
I mean, you're literally going into who was at that time Hughes, undefeated, really one of the top rated teams in Class 5A. And you were going in with like one hand tied behind your back if you didn't have 39 players, 34 players, whatever. Well, now Gainesville, by golly, said we're going to fight. And I think that fight, that determination, that we're not taking any prisoners here, we're going all out, we're putting all of our chips in the middle of the table. I think that mentality was from the administration, the coaching staff, the players. They felt it, and they have really driven off of that motivation. And I think it's evident the way they come out. They took it to Hughes, who, again, is a great team. That score was not even as close as it indicated, right?
Nope,
I think you told me that. And then last night, they went to Rome, one of the toughest places in Georgia to play, Barron Stadium, and that thing was over before you could sit down. 14-0, 24-0. Josh Niblett was interviewed at halftime. Said, look, we're going to come out and we're going to get ready to finish the job. So you want to talk about absolutely confident. They were not worried about any kind of second half comeback by Rome, and Rome's a really good team. I really like John Reed, but so these are two teams who are going in with a blaze of glory right now. I mean, with all the confidence and the firepower in the world, Larry, and the fact they played on Thursday night, and now they're going to play on Wednesday. Remember, the 5A and 6A games have been switched. So the 6A will be Tuesday, and the 5A now will be the nightcap on Wednesday night.
Phil, there's a lot that you can talk about when it comes to that matchup with Central and Gainesville. Outside of Beaufort and Carrollton, that's got to be probably, I think it's probably appropriate to put Central and Gainesville in that final game.
Yep.
All eyes across the state are going to be watching this game. And so it's going to be interesting how these two coaches approach this, because both of them are very offensively minded coaches.
Yeah.
And this bears it out in these stats. I want to just tell our audience how closely these two offenses kind of mimic each other. Check these stats out, Phil. For Central, on the year, they've got 3,100 rushing yards and about 3,000 passing yards. They average about 438 yards a game. That's Thomas County Central. Now, the Red Elephants from Gainesville, they've got 3,400 rushing yards on the year, 2,500 passing yards, and they average about 453 yards per game. Lots of offense for both of these teams. But on the flip side, both of them have really good defenses. Phil, something's got to give in this game. Is it going to be a shootout, or one of these defenses is going to slow down the other offense just enough?
Yeah, that's again, great points, Larry, that you make. I want to go to the comments here. Johnny Holcomb said this will be Coach Niblett's second state championship appearance in 3 years, and Roger's second in 4 years, if I'm correct. 2 complete program overhauls, quite impressive. And again, of course, Juan Simo Villalobos, a big Gainesville fan, said it's actually second appearance in 4 years for Coach Niblett, but they did go to the finals in his first year. This is his 4th year. Let's see here. Kamal Pianki Let's go Benedictine. Most folks are not giving us a chance. Beware. Hey, I'm definitely giving you a chance. I'm picking you guys to win. But again, Larry, you mentioned something that you thought it was fitting that it was these two teams that seem like these are the two teams that belong.
That's right.
I think we've got several state championship games where I think we've got it right in terms of the final two. I think Carrollton, Buford,
Yeah.
check that box. Thomas County Central, Gainesville, let's check that box. Okay.
Yeah.
Some will argue maybe it should have been Hughes, but you know what? They had a chance, but they couldn't get it done. And then you've got Toombs and Worth County in 1A, 1A Division two game. Again, you got Toombs, the defending state champion. Worth County has really been, in my opinion, the state champion favorite all year. They're undefeated. So I just think, there's three games right there that I think, hey, we've got these are the teams that should be playing. It feels right, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, absolutely. Worth County is another one of those teams that explosive offense, right? Explosive offense.
Yeah.
But you know what, Phil? If I'm Toombs County, I'm watching the game film when Worth played Gordon Lee in the quarterfinals. Gordon Lee, even though they lost, held Worth County to 17 points.
Yeah, I remember that.
It hadn't been done very much this year, right? So I'm all over that game film. What did Gordon Lee do?
Yeah, I remember that. So what, 17-7 was the final?
That's right.
Yeah, I remember thinking the same thing, Larry. I remember thinking, wow, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's the closest game of the year that Worth County has had that anybody's played them. And so you're right. You can bet that Gordon Lee film, the Toombs County Bulldog coaching staff are definitely digesting that from top to bottom for sure. So
yeah, absolutely. Phil, check out these scores this year from Worth County.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they beat Turner 42-0. They beat Irwin 28-0. Beat Dooley 53-0. Beat Brooks 44-25. Fitzgerald 30-7. Brantley County 49-0. But in a squeaker against Thomasville, they win in overtime, but they still score 41 points, 41-40. They beat my Berrien Rebels like a scalded dog, 54-16. They beat Bacon County 52-14. Jeff Davis 26-14. McNair 68-0. Blakely County, close game, but still scored 38-35 victory. And then Gordon Lee, 17-7 win. And then they bounce right back in the semis against Pepperell, beats Pepperell 32-12. So, yeah, Worth can put up some scores.
Yeah, without a doubt. Peter Quill checks in, says, go Big Red. Let me hear from you guys, by the way. If you are new to the show, man, this is what we do. I try to involve you guys as much as Larry and I are talking. I'll break every few minutes and check everybody's comments. I'll try to read everybody's comment because, again, we want you guys to be a part of the show like D'Angelo Davis. I would say everyone got it right because they all won. Let's go, Jack. That's a good point. Obadiah Farley has made it into the house. Obadiah, what's up, brother? Hey, I got to ask before we go any further. Johnny Holcomb, real quick. Would this be Worth's first title since 87 if they win? It would be. It would be. Those are the Robert Toomer days. How many of y'all remember Robert Toomer? Some of y'all may not be old enough, but I certainly remember him. Larry.
Yeah.
So you and I were talking. There was a cat last night in the stands at Thomas County Central who was streaming the whole game. I'm not going to say any names, okay? I'm not going to do that. But I've never seen anything like that in my life. You had a fan sitting there in the stands watching, filming the game, streaming the game. He's bolder than I am. But anyway, whoever you are, thank you for that. I enjoyed that.
Yes, so Johnny Holcomb, to his point, last time Worth won a state championship was 1987. Miller was still there. So he had a number of years left, but that wasn't the last time he played for a state championship. The last time they played for a state championship was 1991, Worth County.
Okay.
So it's been quite a while.
Yeah. Yeah, I tell you, Jeff Hammond again. He's the head coach there. He is a Rush protege. He's doing a great job, and just again doing a fantastic job. Oh, Obadiah says correction. He's from Thomasville High School. Okay, I did not know that. So Kerry Claiborne is checking in. Kerry was certainly happy this time a week ago. Kerry
Absolutely.
was one of the many Buford fans who made it down. Sorry, I didn't get a chance to see you guys, but the weather was terrible. But anyway, I know Buford certainly fired up. Why do you give Benedictine the edge over Creekside? So I'm going to tell you, just to be straight up with you, Kamal, and I hope I'm not butchering that last name too bad. But Creekside has beat up on a lot, and it's not their fault. Okay, don't no malice intended here. I'm just you asked me a question, so I'm going to tell you. Benedictine has played a lot. I think a lot tougher schedule. I know that Creekside beat the team from out in California and beat them bad. Which that is just the most bizarre thing I've ever seen in my life. Creekside gets beat by who? Who was that, by the way? Was that Mater Day?
DeSoto, Texas.
DeSoto. That's right. That's right. My bad. My bad. So Creekside got beat like 2 years ago by somebody from California, I think, or I don't know, but they gotten beat pretty bad. And now they got beat by DeSoto. They take it out on DeSoto. That's just a bizarre thing. How do you lose to somebody 70-0 and come back and beat that same team or whatever it was? Okay, 65-0, whatever. Anyway, I think Benedictine, though, their body of schedule, their schedule has been a little bit tougher this year. They played a lot of tough teams. I don't think Creekside has played that many tough teams. They've run roughshod, racking up 70, 80 points on a lot of weaker teams. I just think Benedictine, Danny Britt, he's been here before, got a lot of state championships, titles, and state championship appearances. Danny Britt really got Benedictine on a roll there during about a, I don't know, 4 or 5 year stretch here recently. So anyway, to try to answer your question, sometimes you just have a hunch. The last couple of games, Creekside has been held to 35 points, I think, in consecutive games. So I think Benedictine may be taking a look at that film. So I'm just going to go with Benedictine, but again, I know Creekside has beaten a lot of people, but I just don't like the schedule that they've played, except for that one game, DeSoto, and they definitely did themselves good in beating that good DeSoto team. But anyway, that's kind of where I'm going at.
Well, to your point, Phil, I'm looking over the schedule for Benedictine, especially early in the season. They had a very, very tough schedule. They
Right.
traveled to Colquitt County, right,
Yep. Yep.
and almost come back to win that game to beat the Packers, but ultimately fall 27-24. And then I don't know if their head coach was out of his mind when he scheduled a game against Buford in the second week of the season, but lost that game. Actually, not bad for talking about a difference in classification, but lost that game 42-14. They go to Burke County, win that game. Westminster, they go to Ware and beat the Gators at home. They beat Warner Robins, beat Wayne County, and then they walk all over Perry, and Perry is not a bad team at all. Then they New Hampstead, East Forsyth, Cass, and then Central and Marist. And that's how Benedictine got to where they are. Now, here's the Creekside schedule.
Yep.
It's not bad, especially early on. They beat a pretty good Rome Wolves team, 48-28. Then they're at Seminole, not a very good team, beat them 32-0.
Who?
Then they beat DeSoto out of Texas, 70-28 in the third week. They beat Forest Park 7-0, Mays 56-0, ML King 69-0. Then they beat Pace Academy 55-0. Phil, it's interesting to me that some of these names for these schools in recent memory were really good teams, like Mays,
Right.
ML King, Pace
Yep.
Academy, Drew
Yep.
High School.
Yep.
Yeah. They beat Jackson,
Yep.
they beat Midtown, Dalton, then Ware, Lithonia, and they beat a very good Kell Longhorns in the semifinals to get to where they are.
Yeah. I swear, Kerry Claiborne is our resident. You got to make sure you pronounce these names right, or Kerry is going to hold you accountable. Kerry says, "LG, it's been Dicton." not Benedictine. But now
Listen,
I have been.
if
Yeah,
you are
listen.
south,
I've been.
if you are south of
Yep.
Tipton, it's Benedictine.
I gotta be honest with you. Hurricane.
Yeah.
Benedictine. I'm with you, man. I'm with you. Tomato. But anyway, somebody else asking me there, what made you pick Worth? So Nick Fletcher asking me, what's up, Nick? So I picked Worth because Worth's undefeated. I think they're the best team in the state. I got much respect for Toombs County. I think I picked 22-20 or something like that. I think I picked it pretty close. But I just really like what Worth has done this year. I mean, they have faced all comers. They have played in all kind of conditions. They played a good Pepperell team in the playoffs and pretty much shut them down. Larry talked about the game against was it RL Lee?
Gordon Lee.
Yeah. one of those generals. So that's why I like. So that's why I like Worth to answer your question. So, Kerry, you're a PA guy. Okay, I got you.
I thought the same thing. He's like, no wonder I knew that guy had a Yankee streak in him. I knew it.
Wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, he doesn't sound like he's from the South, but I get it. Yeah, he is. Listen, Kerry Claiborne does the PA for everybody. Keith Simpson says hi from Gainesville. Keith, welcome to the show, brother. And again, for all of you newcomers, man, welcome in. I love it. Love to have everybody in. Peter Quill says Gainesville defense has gotten better since the start of the playoffs. Again, guys, I'm telling you, this whole GHSA thing, Larry, I want to get your take on it. This whole thing with the GHSA,
yeah,
I'm telling you, it has fired. It has struck a match under Gainesville, man. They are playing inspired. I mean, they beat a good Hughes team. They beat a good Rome team, and they beat them bad. And that is the best that Gainesville has played all year long. They played well. And you got to remember, too, remember Gainesville last year got put out in the first round of the playoffs by Sequoia? You remember that? They finished 7-4. And I remember talking to Niblett, and he said, you know what? We're going to use this season as inspiration. And we are going to use it basically as motivation for this year. And by golly, they have done it.
Phil, let me tell you what Josh Niblett has done at Gainesville. Okay. In the previous 5 seasons before he got there, in Bruce Miller's last year, he was 4-7. Then Heath Webb takes over and goes 2-9, 5-6, 6-5. His last year there was 5-5, and then they bring in Josh Niblett. Immediate turnaround, Phil. 14-1, then 12-1. Has a down year last year, 7-4. Now this year he's 11-2, playing for a state title. Massive turnaround.
No doubt. Claudia Noel Main is checking in. She's a big Lowndes fan, Larry.
Yeah, she is. Scott Coon, Claudia Main.
Yeah. Claudia says, I'll be wearing my Lowndes High School clothing this weekend in Atlanta. Where'd she get? Oh, yeah, the weekend of the 19th and the 20th, and coming back to Florida on the 20th. I'll have myself so protected. So Monday, it's going to be like frigid here in southern Georgia. I can't imagine what it's going to be like up in Atlanta, Larry. Oh, yeah. Check out Monday's forecast.
I think Monday's it's supposed to be in the 70s on Christmas Day down here.
Now, I haven't looked that far. I just know I saw Monday's forecast. Like here is going to be like the high is going to be like 48 or something.
45-degree high on Monday.
Yikes.
Then by the end of the week, it warms up to a balmy 74 by Sunday.
So you folks going up to Atlanta for the state finals on Monday, better dress warm for sure. Larry, what do you think? And I want to get everybody else's take. What do you think about these finals being on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday? Look, they predicted that the attendance would hurt. It has not. In fact, I think they had record attendance last year, if I'm not mistaken. So, but what do you think, Larry?
Well, when you have the games at Mercedes-Benz, anytime you have it indoors, you're going to get a bigger crowd than you would have it at Georgia State, for the
Yeah.
last several years, right? So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
big. I don't like it in the middle of the week because unless you're a true diehard fan, you're not going to be there because you got to work the next day. That kind of stuff. That's the only thing I don't like about it being in the middle of the week. If it were on a Friday night or a Saturday night, I would be up there celebrating the championships with a lot of teams up there. But it just can't make it. And I would think that it probably does suppress some attendance, but maybe not enough to debate about.
Yeah, when was the first year? Was it last year? Was the first year they held it on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Tuesday, whenever it was? Is that
Whenever
right,
they
guys?
brought it back to Mercedes Benz, that was the deal that they had to work out with the Falcons and I guess Arthur Blank in that group is their major sports franchise up there that plays on the weekends, and if you wanted in Mercedes Benz, this is the concession that you have to make.
Yeah, and I thought the trade off worked. I personally feel like, look, like you said, if you're a true fan of the team, and if you have an inkering that your team is going to be in the state championship, go and ask for the time off or take the time off. I mean, you can find a
Yeah,
way to go. I mean, most bosses understand. A lot of these towns shut down for state championship. Anyway, I think they're pretty good
sure.
about letting employees go. So I don't think it's that big of a deal. But again, and I had predicted that I didn't think the attendance would suffer, and I'm pretty sure that they set a record. So anyway, but I know it's certainly up for debate. Having it on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. But again, hey, if your team makes it, do what you can to get up there and root your team on. In fact, we had Kendrick Sanders saying, "Hey, TCC going to pack the house." That would not surprise me a bit. Travis Hart says, Larry, they should move it to Mercer. Now we've heard that talked about. That's where the GISA state title is held. Games there at Mercer. It is a beautiful stadium. It would be, I think, a very adequate venue, Larry, to have the state title.
I certainly agree with Travis on that. I think they ought to
Yeah.
have it in a couple of different locations. One is Mercedes Benz, the other is Mercer. I think they probably should swap it, in alternating years, that kind of stuff. The only downside to having it in Mercer is getting in and out around that stadium because it's not the best. It's not the best as far as navigating around that stadium. If you've ever been to Mercer Stadium, I mean, it's a beautiful stadium, but not the best as far as parking goes, that kind of stuff.
Really?
Mhm.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
never had that problem, and it's right off the interstate. Man, just boom, boom, hop on. But anyway, I guess it all depends on your perspective. But
Well,
Johnny
think about Phil, think about all the if you had a state championship game, you're not just talking about one game. You've got multiple games played on the same day, and then there's always that transition. A team ends their game, another team's about to begin. So you got fans leaving the stadium and fans trying to enter it all at one time, and that's what
yeah,
causes the congestion.
yeah, I get it. And like I said, the GISA has always had their their finals up there for forever. And I know we're not talking about the same amount of people. I get that, but
Yeah,
man, I thought it, and that was in fact one of the things that I loved about that venue was all the parking you had. And again, you're right off. I mean, you're like less than a quarter of a mile off the interstate,
right.
easy access. Of course, I know going to Mercedes Benz, you got to go navigate through downtown and I've never been to Mercedes Benz. I haven't been there yet. So,
Oh yeah, it's
you
a
know,
nice stadium. I love it.
that looks absolutely beautiful. But anyway, so now let's talk about this. Okay. Um, I know a lot of people have been talking about you know, they used to have the state championship games, at one of the two teams participating stadiums. And I know we're a long way removed from that. But just for conversation's sake, guys, a state title game should never, ever, ever be played anywhere except neutral site. I don't. Larry says thumbs down. Listen, I don't want any home cooking. I don't want any perceived advantages other than it's my guys against your guys. I don't want to hear anybody say, man, home cooking got us. No, take that away. Plus, I think the guys deserve to play under the big top. the big stage
Yeah.
where the Falcons play, who sometimes resemble a professional team. But anyway, that's where the big boys play. That's where I think that's part of the reward. If you make it to the state title game, not only do you reach the ultimate contest, but you get to play it in the stadium under the big top. So that's how I feel about it. And again, I don't want anything other talent against your talent. I don't want any perceived advantage, like home field advantage, which obviously you're going to have if you have one of the two teams.
Not according to
Larry?
the GHSA. You can't even play your own lights.
Oh, I know.
Oh,
But you were giving the thumbs down.
I'm just picking on Kerry there. He gave me a hard time
Hancock says,
I'm bringing that up.
Danny Hancock, I'm with you, Mr. Field. They deserve that. Yeah, I agree. Kerry Claiborne says weather should not play a factor in state championship games if at all possible. That's why having the game in the Bend is so important. Man, I tell you what, they went through a rough stretch there when they had it at Georgia State. Larry, you and I were there for one of those.
Yeah, absolutely. Phil, I think the GHSA should create some exceptions. Let me tell you what I'm talking about. A couple
By the
of
way,
years
Heather,
ago,
no, Heather. No, go ahead, Larry.
A few years ago, you had an ice storm that caused a suspension of the state championship games. In particular, you had two Southern teams that were separated by a couple hours, hour and a half, something like that, in Coffee County and Lee County. And so,
what of them was this one? Go ahead.
So both teams drive all the way up there, have to turn all the way back around, and then they ended up playing it down here anyway. Now they ended up playing it over in Lee County, but I wish they would have opened up Tiff County Stadium to play it on a neutral site. There, that to me would have been ideal, right? But
I'm all for that.
I wish the GHSA would create an exception. So if you have two teams in the southern part of the state, or let's say an extreme northwestern part of the state or whatever, and those teams can agree to play at a neutral stadium down here, why not?
I'm all for that. As long as it's on neutral site, I'm with you. Travis Hart asked, Larry, what do y'all think of it being at Georgia Southern or even Sanford Stadium? I'm all for that. What do you think, Larry?
Too far. Now, if you're gonna have it at a neutral site or a location, the reason why some people like me and Travis Hart talk about potentially having it at Mercer Stadium, because that's a centrally located stadium. Atlanta is more centrally located for most of the state than Statesboro or Athens, right? So that's why I wouldn't want to go to Athens, or even though it's a hallowed ground to me. I love that, but for the purpose of the state championship, and plus, I don't think Kirby Smart would like it either, because they still have an all grass field, and I don't know if they would like all these teams tearing up their field.
Steve Browning says you wrong with a thumbs down. Now, Steve, what are you talking about? Who's wrong? Actually, give us some detail on that. Heather Knight Rodriguez says, yes, I get that field. The guys love playing there, but in TCC, our 12th man travels very well. We take road trips, really never play games. Yeah, I mean, again, I just feel like when the kids get to play the state championship, let's put it on a neutral field. Let's take away home field advantage. Take that away. I don't want any of that. I don't want anything adulterating the game itself, other than it's my team against your team, mano a mano, may the best team win. That's all I want to hear. So
well, there's only one thing against your argument as far as home cooking and officiating, that kind of stuff. The instant replay implemented now in the state championship games came about because a game was played at Mercedes-Benz that resulted in controversy.
What do you mean?
Several years ago, I think it was
the Sandy Creek game
or Mercedes-Benz, where I can't remember the two teams that were involved.
Sandy Creek. Yeah, Sandy Creek and somebody else.
Where it looked like I can't remember who scored or who didn't score, but the replay made it pretty obvious that the officials blew the call, and it cost the other team a state championship, right? And so that's why they went back and implemented instant replay.
But I don't think it had anything to do with it being at Mercedes-Benz Stadium or Georgia Dome.
No, not necessarily. I'm talking about playing a state championship game at one of the reasons why you talked about playing at Mercedes or Georgia State or whatever was having it at a neutral field, and you do away with home cooking, or you do away with officiating, bad officiating,
Mm-hmm.
that kind of stuff. Not necessarily, because my point was we got instant replay in the state championship game because of the state championship game, and it happened to be played at a neutral site. So just because it's a neutral site doesn't eliminate all the bad officiating that may go on.
Yeah, I'm not really talking about that. I guess I'm just talking about, it's like Steve Browning says. He said you're wrong about the finals at home. Well, at whose home? That's my point. You're always going to be at one stadium. One guy's going to be on the road.
What's wrong with that?
Because one's team is going to be the visitor. That's why they say, there's just, the home field advantage is everything people talk about.
Well, I think we've already established that there's not really much home field advantage when it comes to the GHSA and the playoffs, because they take all that away.
Well, to a certain extent, but there's nothing like playing in your own. Look, if you go to the Dome, both teams have got to travel. Okay, if you're playing at somebody's stadium, let's say one of the two team stadium, somebody's not going to have to travel. Somebody gets to sit there. They're in their home locker room. Again, there's a lot of advantages to doing that, and that's what I want to take away is any kind of advantage other than my guys against your guys. But anyway, David Lee says I'm lost. David, I don't know what you're lost about, buddy. I want you to tell us a little bit more. Let's see here.
David, we're just having a fun conversation about our night when there's absolutely no football to talk about. So we're just having a friendly banter back and forth about, is it right for the state championship game to be played at Mercedes, or should we have it at the home stadiums like we used to have prior to 2008?
Yeah. Heather Knight Rodriguez says the Southern teams have to travel more, not the Atlanta Metro schools. I hear you. And again, I know that there's a lot of debate on that. I don't really think that matters a whole lot. I could be wrong. I don't have anything that any kind of study that backs up my thought. There's always going to be some kind of disadvantage. But I just think, let's ask the kids, the players, is making it to the state championship game one of the big parts of that? Being able to play in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, I would think that is a huge, huge plus. Somebody's talking about where the Texas state title game are played. Is that Jerry World?
Probably so. Jose Badilla is finally checking in. Jose, where you been? It's 9:46. You're 46 minutes late.
Jose Padilla, I hear you.
He's usually one of the first ones to comment.
Obadiah Farley, if you decided to read it, it came from the heart. I'm not sure what that's about. Let's see here.
Johnny Holcomb said, he brings up an interesting point. He says, I think we should have a GHSA South and GHSA North. Each has their own playoffs, and crown a North and South champion who would play in the overall state championship game at Mercer. They used to do that, didn't they, John?
They did. They sure did. They used to do that. There used to be a South Georgia champion, a North Georgia champion, and they would play for the Georgia state championship. Sure did.
Johnny, listen, I'm right there with you, but nowadays, especially in the higher classifications, it's impossible because you only have 5 teams south of Atlanta in the highest classification, right? So it wouldn't take just a couple of weeks to determine a South Georgia champion down here.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so it's just throwing a little, like Larry said, we're just throwing out some fodder there. We got no games tonight. So this is the first Friday night, Larry, in how long that we have not?
Since August.
Since August.
Since the 1st of August.
Okay, wow. So August, September, October, November, 4.5 months. Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So we went from sweating our heinies off in a preseason game in early August. Now we're talking 45 degrees in South Georgia on a Monday.
Incredible. Just absolutely incredible. So, guys, we're talking about the state title games. We're talking about last night's semifinal games. What did y'all think about it? Were you surprised at either one of those games? I guess I can say I wasn't surprised by Thomas County Central. I mean, they're just running a rough shot through everybody. I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, are they going to handle Gainesville that same way? I think it's pretty interesting that we've got this situation with Gainesville. Again, guys, the wild card here is Gainesville has got this thing that's happened to them with the GHSA. I'm telling you, I think this has affected the way they're playing right now. Not that they weren't good before, they were, but this thing with the GHSA, man, this has given them, Larry, a chip on their shoulder. And I think it makes what they're doing and this game against Thomas County Central that much more interesting.
Phil, this is just LG just talking out loud. Okay. I wonder if Niblet, if Coach Niblet's telling his guys, it's like, guys, we're going to have to do this thing and show the state what we're made of. Because look at what they tried to do to us and look at what they're going to do to us. Here's what I mean. What they tried to do to us was sit 39 of you guys to give a state championship to someone else because they were scared. And what they're going to do to us, is next year, they're purposely putting us back into a region to take us down after agreeing to let us out of that region to save on travel. I guarantee you he's saying that.
You think so?
I bet you he is saying it. I would.
Maybe something to that.
If you are a coach, Coach Niblet's no different from other coaches as far as this point goes. Coaches will use whatever they can use to fire up their guys. And one of the primary arguments to get a teenager fired up, Phil, it's us against the world.
Oh, no doubt.
Right?
No doubt. Listen, I agree. And when all this was happening with the GHSA, I mean, I said this is going to have one or two ways it's going to go.
Yeah.
This is either going to, be a distraction for Gainesville. You guys can go back and watch. I think I wrote this up in a story. I talked about it here on the show. I said this thing with the GHSA was, as far as Gainesville is concerned, it was either going to be a distraction.
Yeah.
Because you got to realize, Larry, there for a week, 10 days, all Gainesville was doing, their focus was not on football. It was on appeals. Can we play? Will we play? When will we play? Will we have all of our players? And I was wondering, man, and again, this is where I give a lot of credit to Niblet and his coaching staff. You talked about it at the beginning of the show, Larry, what a great job he's doing. And you're right. And this proves it. This guy has not only held this team together, he's been the glue, but he's also used this as a motivating factor for his Gainesville team. And obviously that is the result that we've seen from Gainesville, what the GHSA thing has had on them. And it's been a motivating factor. So, it's going to be interesting to see. I think it brings a whole new dimension to this championship game.
Man, as far as one of the most interesting things to me, one of the most riveting things between in that Central versus Gainesville game, Phil, is the personality of those two head coaches are both of them are so intense. Justin Rogers is intense. Josh Niblet is intense, and their teams feed off of that intensity. And I love it.
Oh, I do too. Listen, if you know Niblet, man, he is in both him and Rogers. Man, they are the real deal. They walk the walk. They talk the talk. Niblet, big man of faith, and he's not afraid to show it. I like that. We're going to see. Let's go to some of the comments, Larry, and let's see what people are saying. Deshaun Suggs. Now, we got to talk about Carver. Because Carver is another one of these teams I've been saying all year long. You might as well give the state title trophy to them now. And I'm going to tell you, of all the games I predicted, and I predicted all of them, I'm going to tell you right now, that this Carver, Hateville game, I think I predicted 45-14. It may be worse than that. Deshaun Suggs, big Carver. He's Carver Columbus' #1 fan. Hey Phil, you coming to witness? You witness me, Carver Columbus Tigers football team. We're going to be there. I'm not going to be because we're doing some stuff with our annual football banquet that I've got to get taken care of. But we are going to have our videographers going to the game, so we'll have access to all 3 games. We got some locker room access that we're going to get up there. And again, that's the benefit of this great relationship that we enjoy with schools all over the state. So we're looking forward to that, Deshaun. And Deshaun, you hear me, man, talking about it. I just think Carver, they're another one of these teams that are just, Larry, have you seen so many dominant? Break out the back scratchers. I love it.
Back scratcher.
Where's that back scratcher at? God, I love it.
I was looking for my
best dollar I've ever spent.
Here comes the Carver talk. Toby's right, Phil. Guys, if you ever watch an Extra Point a show from bell to bell, from cover to cover, you are going to hear 2 things from Phil Jones. One is how much he loves the state championship game at a neutral site like Mercedes-Benz, and how awesome the Carver Tigers are.
Man, again, Thomas County Central, Carver. Again, 6A is such a toss-up. Again, guys, we started the show talking about this, and I'll go back to it in a minute, but you've just got these classifications have got teams that I've never seen such dominance.
Yeah.
From certain teams, I guess is what I'm saying. Larry, Carver has won like 20, I think 26 in a row.
They're good, no doubt.
And the kind of what's a shame is, and I don't know how this happened, the one game that they've had that was close was the Sumter game in Americas earlier this year, where they beat Sumter by a point. It was in the rain, and if Sumter could have beat Hatefield Charter, we would have had a rematch. But somehow, some way, look, credit to Hatefield Charter, they won it. But anyway, I don't know. But let's see.
So Phil is
yeah.
I was just looking back on Carver's previous seasons, and you're right, they've been dominant for a while. Is Carver Columbus? Is Carver Columbus? I don't know anything about that western part of Georgia over there, especially the football. Now, when I think of Georgia high school football, I have to confess, I don't automatically think of West Georgia, right? I don't automatically think of any of the Columbus schools. But Carver, are they the premier team in West Georgia?
I'd say so. You got to count. Obviously, you got to count Carrollton.
Yeah.
In West Georgia. Which Carrollton's a little bit more north than Columbus, I think. Yeah, everyone's very good at geography. But by the way, love them all. Murray says it's all about the north to y'all, but believe in the south as well. I don't know what you're talking about. We've talked about Thomas County Central. We've talked about here teams in here, Worth County. It just happens to be there's not that many of them in the state championship. That's all.
Yeah, in our defense, Murray,
love them all, Murray.
Yeah, so we're the Friday before the state championship games, and to Phil's point, most of our teams are eliminated. So who are we going to talk about? The teams that are left, right?
To the victor go the spoils. That's what we're doing here. We're talking about the teams that are still playing. Larry, I think you put up the map on Monday night, did you not? Remember the map? Yeah. Larry put up a map, guys, that was like it had flags representing where all the teams that were in the state games were from. And it was pretty pitiful. You had Sylvester and I'm trying to think.
Do you remember the name of that site on Facebook? What was it? Fired Coaches or something like that? Or was it Twitter? I can't remember.
Fired Coaches of Georgia.
I'm going to try to find it real fast. Fired Coaches of Georgia. So keep talking stall for me while I try to find this thing.
So Anyway, it was just this map that fired coaches of Georgia put up, and it was representing all the teams, all the towns that were represented in the state championship game. And man, you look at this and you hear all these towns and you realize, where they're at, but then when you see it, it's all about visual, right? And when you see all these towns and you're like, there's Sylvester represented, and Toombs County is what? Lyons, Georgia. That's over around Vidalia. I mean, it's southern Georgia, but when I'm talking about like Cordele, Warner Robins and South. I mean, the representation of this part of the state, the southern part of the state, in the state championships are just almost non-existent. Bit like Benedictine representing the east part of the state. You can almost draw a horizontal line, Larry, from Benedictine, which is Savannah, over straight across to Columbus, when you got Carver. Okay. Under that, you've got Worth County and Toombs County. But then everybody else, I think, is above that line that we're talking about.
Yeah. All right, you ready for this?
Yeah, man.
All right, check this out. Let's see. Where's this screenshot? Here we go. Guys, check out how incredible this map is.
There it is. That's the map I was talking about. And just it speaks for itself.
It's crazy, man. Speaking of maps, Phil, I haven't heard any type of update on.
I'll let Thomas County Central up. My apologies, guys. I was waiting to see the map, but yeah, there you go. Thomas County Central, Worth County, and Toombs County. So there you go.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Larry.
Well, speaking of maps, we're getting kind of late in the year, almost end of the year, and when January rolls around, then all eyeballs in the high school football world, Phil, turn to who's going to be the next head coach at this school. And this time of year, there's already a number of schools looking for head coaches, right?
Yep.
And I think there's a number down here that haven't found a head coach yet, and they've been without for several weeks now. So, can you give us any clues? I know that you're in the know.
Well, in case you guys missed it, you've got in case you guys missed it, Garrett Grady steps down from Brunswick.
Yeah.
Out of all that melee, that mess that happened, but in the Brunswick game, and I thought that was so unfortunate.
It was, man. He had a good thing going there.
He really did. And so anyway, he is now at Coffee.
Yeah.
Either as the I think he's the offensive line coach. He'll take over there at with Mike Coe at Coffee. So anyway,
right?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
So that's an opening there at Brunswick, and I think that's a good job.
Yeah.
I think that's a very good job. Now, I want to go back to a couple of comments. And we'll talk about this as far as Bainbridge is open. Larry, what do you think about the Bainbridge job?
I think Rush Probst is going to do great in Bainbridge. Let's start that rumor.
Oh, Larry. Oh, Larry. Larry.
I'm just kidding, guys. Don't be going spreading rumors that LG said Rush. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we're just throwing stuff out there.
It's late on a Friday night, and we're feeling giddy.
So, see, Deshaun Suggs already jumped on it. Probst should be going to Brunswick. Now, listen, it's going to be possible. So, I talked to Rush after the state championship game. In case you guys didn't know, you've been under a rock. Rush won another state championship last Saturday in Alabama. And he did it with like 15 guys. Said it's the smallest team he's ever had. So, I asked him, and you guys can read the story. I wrote the interview up, and it's on our website. And I think it's on our social media post platforms as well. But I asked Rush, I said, Rush, what's your next step? And Rush says, look, I am back. My juices are flowing. I'm ready to coach. He said, if Coosa will have me back, that Rush coached this year for $1 a month. At Coosa. Do you know that, Larry?
I did not.
It was just one of these deals where he said, I'll coach. I'll just do it. I'll take over on the interim basis. Remember, They had fired the previous coach. He said, "I'll take over on an interim basis, and I'll do the job. You just pay me like $1 a month or whatever." And but anyway, you know what? He's not going to do it for $1 a month anymore because he just wants a state championship. So I think he's interested in going back there, but can they afford him? That's the thing about it. Now Rush is not only back, but now he's back with leverage.
Yeah. I see you, Adam Glover. I see you.
What Adam Glover say? I heard the name Rush out there. See, man, listen, you throw Rush Probst out there, love him, hate him, people love to talk about him. And you can say what you want to about Rush. The guy can coach.
You posted something on the ITG Next Facebook page, a nice article about Rush. And, it did not surprise me when he says that he wants to take another program in South Georgia and make it a national powerhouse.
Yep.
So here's the deal. What South Georgia team that has a vacancy wants to become a national brand with all the stuff that comes with that? So what that usually means, Phil, he wants resources. In order to become a national brand, you got to have a lot of resources, more than you're currently spending. So, guys, watch out. Rush is coming to town, and he's going to turn things around. But in return, he's going to require resources. And every coach nowadays, when they come into a program, that's one of the first things they ask for. What kind of resources? You see that now up in Tift County with their commitment to build an indoor facility, right? You saw that at Valdosta. They've broken ground. You're seeing it all over the place, not just indoor facilities, Phil, but whatever resources a new coach comes in, they usually, whatever they ask for, they usually get or pretty close to it.
Guys, Larry, do you realize that Rush, okay, how long has he been away from Colquitt County?
Was the last year that he was there, I know he won back-to-back state titles in 14 and 15. I'm not sure how much longer he lasted after that. I'm not sure.
10 years or something like that. But here's my point. Okay. Do you guys realize that Rush has been gone almost a decade? But his legacy lives on.
Here we are still talking about him.
Well, but here's what I mean, Larry. Before Rush got to Moultrie, to Colquitt County.
Yeah.
Thank you, Johnny. Johnny Holcomb says 2018. And Johnny, I want to get your thoughts on this, and everybody else. I want your input on this, guys. I got a lot of people checking in, a lot of people commenting. I want you to hear me, and I want your comments.
Yeah.
Before Rush got to Colquitt County was just meandering along as a mediocre program. They were 500, 6-4, 7-3. 4-6, 5-5, make the playoffs, blah, blah, blah. When Rush Probst gets to Colquitt, everything changed.
Sure.
They go to a mediocre program who make the playoffs every now and then, win a game here or there, playoff game here. They go to not only a state power that wins 2 state championships back to back. He took them to how many state titles? I think 5. I think he won 2, lost 3. Math may be wrong there, but anyway, But what he did there, the indoor facility, that Colquitt County indoor facility was one of the first in the state, especially one of the first in South Georgia. That nutrition program he started at Colquitt County, I think the first major, I'm talking about 3 meals a day year-round nutrition program. Larry, you talked about Monday night, how much money Lowndes invest in the nutrition program. It's thousands of dollars. My point being, Rush is gone, but what he did, what he started at Colquitt, lives on. It lived on through Justin Rogers, and it's living on through Sean Calhoun. Those are great coaches. But that legacy that Rush started at Colquitt lives on today. And you know where else he did that? Hoover. Hoover was not a national program. They were not a state powerhouse. But you know what? They still are today. Remember, Niblett is the one that succeeded Rush at Hoover. So there's 2 programs that Rush turned into state powers and national powers. Larry, you said it. He said it in the interview with me. He wants to create another national brand. And a school out there needs to think about that when they consider hiring Rush, because I understand what's happening in the past. I think Rush is, I think he's past that. We all get older and wiser, and Rush is both. So I don't think you're going back ever to the shenanigans and this and that and whatever. I think a program needs to take a serious look at hiring Rush, pay him the bucks, and if you want your program on to be a state power and maybe even a national power,
Yeah.
you've got a guy that's done it at two different schools, two different states, and those schools are still living on with his legacy today.
Phil, a couple of years ago, I did not many people know about this, but I did a 45-minute sit-down interview with Rush Probst. Virtually on the screen, just like you and I.
Hey, hold on a second. Hey, Obadiah, listen, buddy, we're trying to talk sports here, man. I can call you later or something, man, but yeah, I'm ignoring you because you're trying to start something here on the show, man. This ain't the platform for it. So please just take that somewhere else, dude. But go ahead, Larry.
Okay. So a couple of years ago, when Rush was announced the first time, becoming the head, I don't even know if he was going to be a head coach. He might have been an assistant or offense. I can't remember, but he was going back to Alabama and helping the Coosa Christian Conquerors. Is that their names?
Yeah.
So we had a sit down conversation with him on screen like this, and it was fascinating to just get him one-on-one and just pick his brain on how he processes information from soup to nuts, man, how he plans out a program, what he's learned over the years, what he would have done differently, what he's doing now, that kind of stuff. So I encourage, if you guys are interested, I encourage you to go watch that interview. It's one of the most fascinating conversations I've ever had with a head coach.
When was that, Larry?
This was, I want to say, either 2 or 3 years ago. I can't remember. I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, it's and that's the thing about with Rush. I mean, again, look at what he did at Coosa. If you read the interview that I did with him, he took on a program in Lynette or Lanett, however you say it, Lynette. I think it's how it's 15 kids. He had to depend on the TV timeouts as an advantage in that game. He said, look, he said, I was worried. He said, because we're having to play kids both ways. And by the way, they've got one of the best players. I think he's a candidate for Mr. Football. That's the top player in Alabama. It's a reward that they give. Does Georgia not have what Mr. Georgia Football? Do we have that here in Georgia, Larry? And anybody else that's watching the show?
I think we just started something similar to that, but I can't remember for sure.
I mean, that's a very prestigious thing in Alabama. Like if you get Mr. Football in Alabama, I mean, that's like, it's almost like the Heisman of high school. But anyway.
Phil, I just put in a link into the comments that interview with Rush I had. It was 2 years ago. Don't click on it now. We don't want you to watch it now. We need to stick with this show. But afterwards, feel free to go over to YouTube and click on that link and watch that interview. Very fascinating interview.
Adam, thank you for that, buddy. It's all good vibes here. Football talk, no drama. So every now and then people will get in here and, whatever, and try to, create drama and try to disrupt things. And guys, come on. Just leave it alone. Okay. Yeah. We're here. We host this show to talk some football and have a good time. So some of us get it. Most of us, 99% of us get it. And some don't. Jose Padilla, go ahead.
Johnny Holcomb's got it spot on. Not just Rush, but he uses Rush, but he makes a outstanding point. He says, I think this point is so outstanding. I'm going to put it on the screen. So it's this. The important thing with Rush is
I love that feature, by the way, Larry.
Go ahead. Is the AD and school board have to be 100% on board. If you have an AD with an ego, it won't work, or a principal with an ego, it won't work. Phil, I don't know if many years ago when I was when you first asked me to come on your show, I introduced something I called my 4 pillars of high school or sustaining a winning championship program at the high school level. It requires 4 pillars, and those were you got to have obviously you got to have a really really good coach, and along with that you've got to have good assistance with that as well. You've got to have community support. You got to have athletes that are coachable. But in my opinion, the number one thing that you have to have, the foundation of the 4 pillars, you got to have an administration that is sold out for your football program where all 4 pillars are going in the same direction. There can't be any deficiency.
That's a great analogy, Larry. Great analogy. You're absolutely right. Either everybody's on board or they're not. And while I'll get to Sean Suggs real quick, Carver Columbus still on the field practicing right now. I love it. I love that dedication. But that's a great point, Larry. Great point. It's all for one or none for all.
And here's the deal: if you're deficient in one of those pillars, just like any pillars that's holding up a house or a building, whatever, if there's a crack in one of the pillars, the whole thing's coming crumbling down.
Disrupts the foundation, doesn't it?
Yep, exactly. So Adam Glover says, I think he didn't succeed in Valdosta because of the clashing with everyone at the school. There was some clashing in personalities at Valdosta, but you know what? There was some clashing in personalities in the last couple of years in Colquitt County as well. Whether you like Rush or not, whenever you are a winner at the highest level, there are going to be some people that are gunning for you, right? And so they're always looking for chinks in your armor, and they're going to throw rocks until they develop a crack, and they're going to exploit that as much as they can. That's just human nature.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, here's the thing. If you notice, okay, and this affects everybody, that if you're successful, if you're a winner, people don't like that. People will rebel against that. I don't know if it's jealousy. I think there's a lot of factors, but I think that's a big part of it. Now, and look, let's face it, Rush, if you know Rush, he's got a little bit of an ego. If you don't think that, go back and look at the Hoover. If you can pull it up, the two-a-days. And I'm talking about the two-a-days from Hoover. Larry, have you ever seen those?
Yeah, it was fun to watch.
I
couldn't believe what I was watching, but it was fun to watch.
I mean, that started, that was one of the very first reality TV shows, okay? You can talk about Housewives of Beverly Hills or whatever. But the two-a-days that MTV was, I think it was MTV, wasn't it?
Yeah.
MTV come to Hoover, Alabama and filmed. Rush was even trying to trip up cameramen while they were filming the show. And like, I mean, Sean Suggs says, Phil, bring him on the cruise as well. Absolutely, buddy. We'll do that. But listen, that's Rush. He's got that personality. He's going to tell you what he thinks. And, remember the headbutt on the sideline, and it just, that comes with Rush. So when he walks into a place, there's going to be, Larry, some built-in instant animosity.
Absolutely. Listen, it happens to every great coach that sets foot on a campus, right? It happened to Rush. It happened to Jamie DuBose. It happened to Randy McPherson. I'm sure it happened to Jeff Herron. There's always someone that doesn't like you because you're successful.
Yep.
Now,
exactly.
sometimes people are, that, sail to the highest levels, they make it easier for people to throw rocks at them. Sometimes that happens,
I don't know what Jackson Hayes' comment means, but it's got me laughing. Somebody decipher that for me.
Okay, so
I don't know. Help us out there, somebody. All right.
So I think I get the MF GIF right now, little twin. So I don't know. I don't know what the part about feel you glazing. I don't know what that means.
I never heard that.
Jackson, come on, man. Let's agree to use the Queen's English.
I love it. Phil, I mean, look at there are people throwing rocks at you now. Yeah, that's kind of what I meant. You know, when you're successful, you get to a point. Look, guys, I gotta say this. I gotta tell you guys something. There was a guy. There was a guy that he watched the Roswell Coaches Show that I did Tuesday. For those of you that don't know, I do six coach. I just did six coaches shows this year. We had sponsors. We had people that paid for that. Okay. Well, Larry, and for everybody else, the guy saw the Roswell Coaches Show where I actually said, "Hey, Coach JT Thompson, Coach, want to wish you the best of luck against Thomas County Central. I hope you guys do well. You know, in a conversation with Justin Rogers, I would tell him the same thing. Okay. Well, this guy watched the Roswell Coaches Show and got all over me. Said, "How dare you showing your partial? You're not very impartial, are you?"
What?
Yes, yes.
Oh my gosh, man.
And I tried to tell him, I'm like, dude, we covered the entire state. I said, as far as that goes, I pick winners every week. And how do you think sometimes, you know, and the coaches that I pick against, they'll talk to me.
Yeah.
They know. Anyway, it was just one. You guys can see it. I forget the guy's name, but it doesn't matter. But anyway, my point being that, you know, people will find a way to throw shade, will try to hate you and just hate on you. And Jose, you're right. But anyway, good take care. So Adam Glover, people are throwing rocks at Phil and LG, but we're filling in those cracks they are making. Appreciate you guys, man. I love it. You got your back. And man, that means everything to me, Adam. I appreciate that. Now, Johnny Holcomb is responding to Dwayne Little. Dwayne Little had said, let's see if we can get, yeah, Adam, you're right. It is about being professional, right? And that's, we always try to be that way, brother. So, darn it, where'd it go? Dwayne Little had said something about Rush being at, oh gosh, where'd it go?
I'm scrolling back in the.
Okay. Because Johnny had took issue with it, and it said something about Valdosta. I guess the people at Valdosta and Colquitt brought Rush down or something like that. But Adam, Jose, I appreciate you guys having our back, man. I do. It's just ridiculous. You know, we get on here and try to talk sports and just have a good time. But anyway, okay, here we go. Go ahead, Larry.
Man, I can't find it, Phil.
Adam Glover says he said Rush ruined Valdosta and Colquitt. Man, I don't think so. I think it's just the opposite. I thought he brought those programs. I don't know. I thought he brought both those programs up.
Adam says he said Rush ruined Valdosta and Colquitt. That's what he said.
Yeah. And like I said, guys, at Colquitt, that legacy still lives on, you know, today.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, that beautiful facility that Larry, we talked about this Monday night, and I think you mentioned how much Lounge spends, or I think we talked about that. Lounge spends a lot of money
on their feeding program. A lot of money.
Yeah. So Rush is the guy that started that. You know, Rush is really one of the frontiersmen, I guess, pioneers in the spread offense. Did you know, Larry, that Rush swears he started 7-on-7? And I believe him.
I've heard him say that before. I don't know if it's true. I haven't really spent any time researching that, but, you know.
I do believe him. That's Rush. He does things that, you know, he does things that nobody. He's a pioneer.
You got me curious, man. I got to Google it now.
I love it. I love it.
Started the football 7-on-7.
Thank you, Jose. I appreciate your comment, buddy. I really do, man. Jose, you're a good man. Good guy. I appreciate that.
Okay, so I went one step far better than Google. I went to Chat GPT.
Ooh, yeah.
And this is what I typed in. Who started the football 7-on-7s? Maybe that I could have asked a better question. I don't know. And this is what Chad said. Short answer, no single person started 7-on-7 football. It evolved over time, but the modern 7-on-7 passing tournaments most people know today can be traced pretty clearly to Texas high school football coaches in the late 90s, early 2000s. Here's the breakdown. Then it goes into talking about passing leagues that were established. Pretty good history of it.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to see if there's any mention of Rush in here.
Well, so while you're
According to
looking, yeah,
chat,
go ahead.
there's no
Go ahead.
mention of Rush in here.
Yeah, and I like Chat GPT. It's really cool.
Yeah.
It's a great tool. Here's the thing about that. It's so ambiguous, Larry.
Yeah.
It's really hard. It's probably hard to define who actually started what. I would say that Rush was definitely on the what's to say? What do you say here? He was on one of the lower floors or one of the early, one of the first
Oh, yeah.
people.
No, there's no doubt. I don't think anyone would argue with you if you made a statement that said Rush is a pioneer and innovator when it
There you
comes
go.
to high school football.
Yeah, yeah. And listen, there's a lot of things that started in Texas. I would certainly not doubt, probably what Chat GPT is picking up on, probably like Google is, they're going back and searching for the first available data, the first available documentation, right? When someone would have written about it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Um,
Gabe Garrett wants to know if you still host the Worth Coaches Show.
Yes, we do. In fact, Jeff Hammond and I talked yesterday, and to answer your question, yes, we do. We do. Probably going to try to do something with him after the state championship game. When do they play, guys? Somebody help me out here. I don't have the calendar in front of me. Worth will play when?
Well, I'll tell you right now. Worth will play. They're in
Class A Division II.
1, right? Yeah. Yeah. So they will play December 15th. Is that right?
That would be Monday then, right?
It's either defend. Shoot, I don't know. Well, anyway, we'll get the schedule here in a second.
Yeah, I was going to say if they play Tuesday or Wednesday, I could. Okay, they play it Tuesday, so going to try to do the coaches show with Worth on Monday because Coach wanted to do it before the state championship. But to answer your question, yes, we are still doing. Looks like everybody is right. So it'll be Tuesday, which is the 16th
at 2 p.m.
Yeah. I mean, remember, Larry, do you guys remember? And I don't know if they still do this. I don't know. Do you remember when they scheduled the Class A games like at 10 a.m.?
Oh, yeah. It was like an all-day affair.
Right? Yeah. Now, that would be hard, man. I mean, that's tough.
I remember the days when they would start like 9 or 10 in the morning, and it's like midnight, and the big boys are playing then. It's like, oh, my gosh, this is a long day.
I love Jose Padilla. If Phil picks against TCC, heck, I'll just send him more gear. Jose is such a good dude. He sent me some Thomas County Central gear. I wear it all the time. People think I'm a Minnesota Twins fan.
What?
Yes.
Jose, send me some gear. I'll wear it.
By the way, anybody want to take a guess where this hat came from?
Carver.
Larry. That's so funny. Larry thinks I'm married to Carver now. I love it. I'll never live this down. Houston County.
Houston County. Okay. Bears there. I thought it was a tiger.
That it kind of does look like one, doesn't it? Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell. I love it. All right, Adam Glover says, random thought, Buford versus Carrollton is going to be a shootout. Yeah, maybe. Larry, what's your take on that? I mean, let's talk about, these games, not necessarily just who's going to win, but and that's the hardest thing I had a hard time trying to get my head around. Do we see a defensive battle in any of these games? And Jose Padilla, I think he's got he's going to send you some stuff. So,
all right, so here's the deal.
That was a good one. That's Carver.
We'll start at the top and go all the way through the bottom and talk about if you think there's going to be any defensive games during these games, okay? Let's start with 6A, Carrollton and Beaufort. We talked about a while ago, Phil, that Beaufort is one of these traditional ground and pound teams, right? But
Right.
Carrollton, I think, has the horses up front to slow Buford down. I don't think this game is going to be a shootout. I really don't. I think both defenses are capable of at least slowing down the opposing offenses. So in 6A, at least, I don't think it's going to be a runaway game as far as back and forth all offense. What do you think?
I don't want to say, I don't want to eat my words here because I'm actually looking to see what I predicted. Because I predicted all of these games, Larry. Let me look real quick. I've actually got them pulled up here. And
Well, while you're looking, I'm going to answer Jose. Jose, can't you tell? He says, LG, what size you wear? I'll send you some blue and gold. I bet you look better than that black and yellow. Well, first of all, Jose, if you ever catch me wearing black and yellow, it's because I've lost my mind. Phil, quick story one time.
yeah, yep.
This happened years ago. I was working over in Albany one day, and I had on some casual slacks and a polo shirt, right? And so I
Yep.
was working over in Albany, and I just happened to wake up that morning. For some reason, I'm thinking I'm going to be out of town. And you know what colors I wore, Phil? I wore a pair of black slacks, black dress shoes, and a yellow polo. Okay, so I'm wearing black and yellow. So I come back to town
Uh,
early, and I get to town about 3 o'clock, and it's a Thursday afternoon. I'm thinking, oh, great. Lowndes is playing a JV game over at Bazemore Hyder today. I'll just shoot on over there and catch that game.
Here we
Little
go.
did I even remember what color clothing I had on. So I'm walking over there into Bazemore Hyder, over to the visitor side with my fellow Lowndes fans up there. I sit between
Oh
these guys,
no.
and everybody is staring at me, Phil.
No
And
wonder.
one of the guys comes up to me, dear guy, Mr. Rogers there, Marty's dad. So Andy Rogers. So Andy comes up to me and says, Larry, you want to tell me what's on your mind? I said, what do you mean? He said, are you making a protest statement? I said, Mr. Rogers, what are you talking about? He says, man, you're on a Lowndes side. You're a Lowndes guy, but you're wearing black and yellow at a Lowndes Valdosta game. Are you trying to make a statement? And it just dawned on me. It's like, Mr. Rogers, crap. I just made a mistake. I just forgot what I was doing. I had to do this mea culpa in front of all these Lowndes fans because of what I was wearing that day.
And it was totally unintentional, right?
Totally
Just
unintentional. I wasn't planning on going to that game. Just totally just unintentional. But it happened.
I love it. Okay, so all right, so I found it, and so my predictions, and you guys can check all this out at ITG next. So first of all, Larry, you have not seen my prediction, right?
No.
Okay, so let's have a little fun here.
Okay.
All right, Larry, what do you think? What would you pick for between Beaufort and Carrollton?
I'm going with Carrollton. Now,
Okay,
Kerry Claiborne, don't roast me. I'm just calling like I'm going with Carrollton probably by 7.
okay. So I actually am taking Buford. And I know you would ask about, did I think it'd be a shootout or a defensive
Yeah.
battle? I think it's going to. I know they say defense wins championships, Larry. I just cannot see with as many talented players on the field,
Yeah.
especially skill position players. I just can't see those guys being kept down. So I'm taking Buford 38, Carrollton 35.
Okay. You are predicting a shootout.
Yeah, yeah. I just think that and I could be wrong, but I just think there's so much talent. How about this Cam Wood young man? Do y'all know the story with Cam Wood at Carrollton?
No, huh?
Larry, do you remember when the young man for Carrollton? I think it was in the preseason. And you guys may have to remind me. He was the featured running back for Carrollton, and just a very unfortunate situation. He gets arrested allegedly on suspicion of murder. Just
Oh, I do remember that story. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, just a bad deal. I hate to hear stuff like that for everybody involved. There was him and a player for Bowden, but the player for Carrollton was their featured. He was like their featured running back.
Yeah.
So anyway, with him out, you're thinking, oh man, that should hurt Carrollton. Well, Cam Wood steps in and becomes the feature back, and this young man is, first of all, he's built like a freight train. But he has had some outstanding games here recently, especially in the playoffs. And so, anyway, I just can't see him being kept down. I can't see the Buford. Buford's got the best player, I think, in the state in Tyreek Ty Boogie Green. And I say that I'm talking about all complete, all around player. It'd probably be between him and the Bowden player. Gosh, I'm drawing a blank. The young man from Bowden, guys, help me out. He just set the state record for touchdown receptions. Anyway, those two guys I think are the best players in the state, and I'm talking about all around players. Okay, I'm talking about ability, true athletes. Okay, but I just think that it's going to be Buford winning this one. It wouldn't surprise me though either way what happens.
Phil, I take a look at Carrollton's schedule this
Yeah.
year, and it hasn't been from top to bottom, it hasn't been the toughest schedule, but there's a handful of games that are really, really impressive wins. They've got an impressive win to start the season against Woodward Academy. Then they beat Rome a couple of weeks later. Then they beat a good Gainesville team pretty good, right?
Caden Prothro, thank you. Yeah, go ahead, Larry.
Yeah. And then they a few weeks later, they beat a very good Douglas County team by 3 scores.
Yes.
And then they turn right around in the playoffs. And this is what sealed the deal for me. The way they manhandled Grayson. I mean, that game wasn't even close. They beat them 34-14. And last week they had a very dominant win against North Gwinnett as well, 48-21.
Thank you, Anna. Anna Limoges. She is another ITG Next. She's our people.
Yeah.
Caden Prothro is his name. What's up, Anna? But anyway, yeah, Caden Prothro. He's a true just all around. He scored 4 touchdowns in his last 2 playoff games, and he's done it through block punt, return for a touchdown, block field goal, return for a touchdown, touchdown reception, pick 6. He's a University of Georgia signee, by the way. And then you got Tyreek Green. They call him Ty Boogie.
Yeah. Now, Phil, then you take a look at Buford's tough games throughout in the season. They beat a Milton who's having a down year this year from all accounts. They beat them by a touchdown early in the season. They beat a pretty good Benedictine team that's had carried Claiborne. Did you hear me? It's Benedictine. They beat a very good Benedictine 42-14, and Benedictine is playing for the state championship. I'm just seeing how many times I can say Benedictine. So they beat a very good Roswell team, 65-21, right? They beat a very good Douglas County team, 34-26. So they've got a couple of common opponents. They've got Douglas County, 34-16. Well, they actually played. Did they play Douglas County twice?
Yeah.
This season? Yeah. And beat them again 30-15. And then what they did against Valdosta was very impressive as well. But that was a game where they just wore Valdosta down and pulled away in the second half. It was very close at the halftime, 11-0. But based on what I'm seeing, just anecdotal stuff that I'm seeing, I think Carrollton's got the edge tomorrow night.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, it's possible. That would be Tuesday night. Tuesday night.
So Buford did a very, very good job of shutting down Valdosta's run game. But you know what Buford struggled with against Valdosta? Was containing Valdosta's passing game. And Carrollton's one of those teams that can run the ball, and they have a very lethal passing game as well.
Yeah, they do.
So they're going to stress that defensive backfield, and I think the battle is going to be won and lost at the defensive line. Can Buford's front 7 put some pressure on that Carrollton quarterback? If they can, they'll win. If they can't, Carrollton is going to eat them alive.
Yeah, good point. So, by the way, we do want to. Jose Badilla says, "Hey, Mister Phil, you know who's great? It's Deuce Lawrence. Absolutely, number two. Who does number two play for? That's a. If you get it, you get it. Christian Deuce Lawrence, number two, Thomas County Central. He sets the Thomas County Central single game rushing record last night. 4 touchdowns and about 1,000 yards. Not really, but he had a bunch. So Jose, thank you for that, by the way, buddy. I appreciate that. And he is listen. So let's talk about the 5A state game. I know we've talked about all of them: 6A, 5A. I think 6A is going to be a great game. I think 5A is going to be a great game. You got Thomas County Central. They are an absolute machine. By the way, Anna, I told you last night coming out of halftime, I thought they were going to put on 30, and they did. I mean, it was just unbelievable. Unbelievable. They're just able to just flip a switch. So, I don't know. What do you think in the Gainesville Thomas County Central game, Larry?
The Thomas County Central Gainesville game? That's going to be a
Yeah.
shootout.
Anna, it was an Austin Powers reference. Yes. If you've seen the movie, you get it. Yes. Do you know what I'm talking about, Larry?
I missed the reference.
Who does number two work for?
Hey, is this? I've watched a number of your shows over the years, Phil. Been on a number of your shows, but I don't recall Anna ever commenting on the show.
Yeah, she jumps on every now and then.
Has she done that in the past? Okay.
Yeah. Anna's sharp, man. You don't want to get in a battle of the brains with Anna. Let me just forewarn everybody about that. Yeah.
All right, so I think it's going to be a shootout between Central and Gainesville. And Phil, the winner of this game is going to be the defense that forces the other team to punt 2 times. You force the other team to punt 2 times, you're going to win the game. That's just the bottom line.
Yeah, that's I mean, it's so you're thinking that could be more of a blowout or a shootout, rather, not a blowout, but a shootout than the 6A game.
I think it's going to be a shootout. It's going to be something like 42-28 or 38-35, something like that.
I'm picking Thomas County Central to win 45-35.
I can see that. I can see it.
I just don't see how anybody can hold. And with apologies to Gainesville, and like I said, they are capturing the moment right now, Larry. And you know how important that is in sports. Yeah. That becomes a big thing. Take advantage of the moment. Take advantage of the situation around you. And with Gainesville, it's this whole thing with the GHSA. They're playing inspired. They're playing motivated. They're playing mad. They're playing ticked off.
Absolutely.
And I mean, when you get all those factors involved, and you're talking about, these young men who have been through this, they didn't know if they were going to have to play with half a roster. I just think there's so many factors at play here, Larry. Most of them external factors that have caused all this. And I think it is motivated. It has brought forth this team. It's made them closer. Guys, I know I keep saying that, but, they're going to be inspired. I just don't know if all that is going to be enough, though, to still overcome a juggernaut of a program unlike any. Larry, have you ever seen anything like Thomas County Central? I mean, ever?
Not in a while. Not in a while. Now, I've seen it in other programs in the past, but it's been a while since I've seen it down here. Probably the last time I saw it was when Rush was down here.
Good point.
In especially that 2015 back-to-back state championship years. I mean, those were some special talented teams back-to-back right there.
Good point.
So I can't remember who said this, but someone just said, Toby Passmore says, I think the TCC will be a lower scoring game. He picks Central to win 28-14. Now, Toby, I get where you're coming from. But then again, I don't get where you're coming from. I know that sounds weird to say, but I'm looking at Gainesville's schedule right here, and no one has come close to holding them to 14 points on the year. Guys, this is what they've scored on the year: 26, 49, 42, 21 in a loss to Carrollton. Okay. Then they beat Lanier 57, 67, 41, 28, 55. In a loss to Roswell, they scored 35, 48, 42. They scored 40 points on Langston Hughes, 37 on Rome. So in order for them to lose 28-14, Central and Justin Rogers is going to have to roll the dice and do something no other team's been able to do this year and hold Gainesville to 2 scores. That's going to be a tough order. I'm not saying it's impossible. Maybe he can figure out something that 14 other teams couldn't figure out. I don't know, but
Yeah.
it's improbable.
Rank Swanigan. Sorry, buddy. You're hurting me, Phil. Keep talking about darn it. I lost it again. Anyway, Rank Swanigan, I apologize. I just tell it like it is, man. Look, if it was anybody but Thomas County Central, and I could be wrong. I don't know. But man, I just think Thomas County Central is an absolute machine.
Yeah.
Of a player for sure. Toby Passmore says Gainesville sits heavy on the run. That's interesting. Somebody said that Thomas County. Oh, here it is. Robbie Hopkins says TCC got beat up last night. Now, I don't know about that. I mean, I guess you're talking about from a physicality standpoint. The game was physical. I don't doubt that. Listen, Roswell had a great season. Anyway, Roster Sutherland checking in from up in Marietta, Blue Devil country. Just happened to see the show was on tonight. It was announced this week that Marietta will start next season in London. How about that, man? I love that. The Marietta Blue Devils and Cameron Duke are going to start next year across the pond, Larry.
In London?
In London, baby. You got to love that.
You guys
love
can't find a closer non-region opponent than London? Well, shoot, man. Lowndes County's closer than London.
Man, I wonder what that bill is going to be like. Let's play Price is Right. I will guess the cost of that trip is, oh, man, do you know how many cars the boys going to be washing between now and next year, Larry?
Man, that's a bunch. Now, roster, you guys aren't going to take the entire roster with you, are you? You're going to take basically the starters and some backups. I can't imagine them taking the entire roster, Phil.
Man, that's a great question, roster. And again, wow.
Golly.
Man, I wasn't going to go that high, roster.
That's the budget for most football teams in Georgia for a whole year.
Okay, now, guys, let's talk about this. I understand the exposure, the fun, the cultural part of it.
Yeah.
But where does it stop making fiscal sense? I would dare say they're going to have to raise that money. No one's going to eat that bill, Larry, right, Rosser?
Well, what I suspect will happen, Phil, is obviously they're going to do a lot of fundraisers, that kind of stuff. There'll be some community, because I think Marietta still is a pretty close-knit community for the most part.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, a lot of money. Yeah, a lot of money.
So they'll get a lot of donations from business people, that kind of stuff. And whatever shortfall they have, I'm sure the school system will make up the difference.
Gotcha. Okay. So, all right. So somebody was on, want to talk about I want to talk about the other games as well. So, we haven't talked about Class 3A, and we'll move on and talk about, 4A, first of all. We talked about that. Larry, I'm taking Benedictine in an upset. Class 4A, Benedictine, Creekside. And I get it. I'm going out on a limb on that one.
Yep.
Larry, what say you? 4A state championship game, Benedictine,
I'm
Creekside.
going with Creekside.
Okay.
Now I am a little biased, and let me tell you why. because the Benedictine folks don't know how to pronounce their names. It's not Benedictine, it's Benedictine. That point aside, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Don't flame me or anything. No, yeah, the head coach of Creekside is another guy that I interviewed earlier this year, just right after he beat DeSoto pretty bad, right? And he is a guy, Phil, that's on a mission. He is another guy like Rush that he told me out of his mouth, he wants to build a national brand for Creekside. And so he's on a mission to do that. I believe him. I mean, he's fired up. He's another intense coach. And I think this year he's got the cycle of athletes to do it.
Gotcha. All right. So 3A, we haven't talked about this one at all. So we've got the 3A state championship game, Jefferson and Sandy Creek. Obviously, Jefferson made it to the state championship game last year. They lost to Calhoun.
Yeah.
Calhoun is not back in the state title game this year. I predicted Sandy Creek to beat Jefferson 28-14.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. This is one of those games between two teams that I don't really follow that much. So I'm going to do what my mom does and go with the team with the prettier uniforms.
3A, hey Larry, 3A and 4A are kind of those two classes that we, and look, we are a company that obviously we have to pay attention to everybody, but so this is more of a regional thing than an ITG thing. I'm not talking about that, but it's just one of those things. If you're in South Georgia, you probably don't, because there's not a lot of 3A, 4A teams.
That's right.
In South Georgia. So it's just a regional thing. All right, 2A, Carver Columbus, another absolute machine of a program.
Let me guess on who you're picking in this game.
This is going to live on forever, as everything on the internet does. By the way, so I am going Carver. Larry, I do think this will be the one blowout game that we've got. I just think, look, good for look, every now and then you've got a program like a Hateville Charter that will pull an upset here and there, and they'll get into the game kind of through the back door. They made it. Kudos to them. But this is, I think, going to be the biggest mismatch of all the state title games, Larry. I think Hateville loses by a bunch. 45-14 is my final score. Adam Glover says Carver by 100.
I don't think it'll be that much.
Adam, I love it. You're killing me tonight, buddy.
Let's take a look at some.
Thanks for the compliment, by the way. I appreciate it.
Let's take a look at some quality wins by Hateville this year. Okay, so some quality wins might include someone like.
Listen, hold on. Toby Passmore, whoever Carver's playing, is just coming to see the dome. You're killing me, man. I love it. Go ahead, Larry.
It's a brutal group tonight.
It is, isn't it? Go ahead, Larry. I'm sorry.
I think Hateville's probably most impressive win was probably Appling County.
Yeah.
I would think.
Good call.
But with that said, Carver's going to be way too strong. I don't think they're going to win by 100. You know why? Because there's a running clock rule in high school football.
Oh, my gosh. You're killing me, dude. All right. Let's see here. All right. So let's take a look at the look. I think, by the way, these Class A games, Larry, aren't you glad that next year we don't have to say Class A Division II?
Man, I get lost in that all the time. I hate that, what they did. I'm not sure what they were thinking when they did it. Why not just give it its own number?
Right, which is what they'll do this next year.
That's right.
Okay. And, guys, just moving forward so y'all know, we're going to continue to do these Friday games. And Larry and I, and we'll talk about some of the new rules going into effect with the new playoff system. We don't have time tonight, but we'll talk about this for future shows, Larry. We'll get into what folks think about the new power ranking system, which is going to determine who makes the playoffs. Remember, guys, the playoffs would be looking completely different this year had we had this, what they're calling the postseason ranking formula. Yeah. Every Region 1-6A team would have made the state playoffs this year. Tift County would have made it. Camden would have made it. Everybody would have made it. So that kind of gives you an idea of what to look forward to. And we'll talk about this in future shows. So Worth County, Toombs County, I think these are two great games, by the way, in the Class A Division One and Division Two. Larry, what do you got? Worth County, Toombs County. Again, this is one of those games. Again, they were meant to be here, without a doubt.
Listen, I'm going to borrow a phrase from my buddy Armand Rashad, who hosts the Viking Nation Live with me. It's Worth County by 50.
I love it. Toombs County, again, the defending state champion. And then last but not least is the Class A Division 2, Lincoln County and Bowden. Boy, you want to talk about two blue blood programs. You want to talk about the history of these two. By the way, Bowden is going for their fourth in a row. That's something that hadn't been talked about a lot enough this year. Bowden going for 4 in a row. Lincoln County, boy, they've won a bunch of state championships, but none recently, Larry.
How long has it been since Lincoln's been relevant on like a high profile type of deal?
Great question. Great question. They have not won a state title in 19 years.
Ooh. Have they come close?
Not really.
Yeah. So this year they're 4-0. I mean, apparently Lee was Chomsky's is the head coach's name. I think that's his name. So 14-0.
Yeah.
Then last year's 11-1. But before that, he was 7-6, 10-3, 8-4, 8-5, 7. No, so he started in 2020 and went 8-5, and in 5 short years, he's got him playing for a state title.
Well, so when you ask, have they been close? I mean, it's all relative. Those records you just described, that's about second round, third round every year. So, but hey, this is going to be great to see them back in it. Again, this makes a lot of sense. I think Bowden, though, wins number 4. I'm a big fan of Rich Finley. He's the head coach at Bowden. Caden Prothero, again, one of the best players in the state. He is a one-man wrecking ball. Jim Blair says Bowden going to get their 4th straight.
Yeah, I think so, too.
Jim Blair's another one. Says Creekside going to get 900 points. Yeah, probably will. Shantavia Sims. Look at there. Shantavia Sims, Worth County, throwing some love to Chance Sims. Chance was he was on the cover of our magazine.
Yeah.
This past month.
So, Phil, we went through every bracket in every classification.
Yeah.
And
except private.
Except private. Let's do private real fast, and then I'll circle back around and ask the question that we started this segment out on.
Okay. So, real quick, all right. So, and by the way, I hate how private doesn't get a lot of recognition. Look, there are some great players in private. Hebron Christian, Larry, they're going for their second in a row.
Okay.
Second consecutive title. Calvary Day, a little bit of an upset school. They fought their way in, but this is going to be Hebron Christian all day long. They are an absolute powerhouse of a football team.
That's right.
Hebron Christian wins it 38-24.
Phil, I like Michael Ward's suggestion. I'm going to take it a step farther. He says the winner of Worth and Toombs should play the winner of Lincoln versus Bowden in an ITG special, and we should call it the ITG Bowl.
I love that. Who said that? Michael Ward.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shantavia, sorry about that. We were a little bit late, but we sent some magazines over to Worth. I'm glad you guys got some. If you need more, we got a few more. So, all right, we got about 3 minutes left.
Yeah.
Let's end on some fun here, Larry. And if we go over, it's fine. I mean, whoever. I mean, it's our show.
Yeah.
What do you think? And be sure to take this with a grain of salt. Okay. I have been an advocate, a fan. I would love to see something close to resembling a high school national playoff. And I understand there are a lot of obstacles, and I'm not saying it would be perfect. But what I would like to do is, Larry, maybe get the top 8 state champions. You would be leaving some out because, like Texas, I think has a rule: their state champions cannot play another game.
That's right.
Yeah. So, but do something where you have I don't know the top 8 teams in 4 games and let them play, and then maybe have a vote on it. Or I just the closest thing we've had to this
Yeah.
is the Geico Bowl Champion Series. You remember that, Larry?
Mhm.
Yeah. Valdosta went out to the Star in Frisco, Texas. That's the Dallas Cowboys training facility, and they played out there. They played Candler, Arizona. You had Collins Hill. They went out and played to a team from Washington State. Georgia, by the way, has not fared very well in these
That's right.
showcase games, Larry. But what are your thoughts on it, Larry? I want to. I'll give you the final word, and you guys can offer some thoughts on it as well.
Well, Phil, I love the idea, but I understand there's tremendous hurdles to get something like
Yes.
that. So I'm a practical guy on, okay, so if we really want to do this, what would it take to actually make it practical to do? Okay. So what I would do is have some type of national pollster committee where it's you and Joe Mamone and Zach Poff with Max Preps and maybe someone with Rivals, that kind of stuff. You guys basically form a committee, okay? And you choose maybe 4 teams nationwide. You choose a West Coast team, you choose a Southeast team, you choose a Northern team, you choose a Western team. You basically 4 teams, right? And you have 2 Western teams play each other because that just cuts down on cost. Then you have 2 East Coast teams play each other, cut down on cost. And then, Phil, you have the championship, the national championship game right before the Under Armour All-American game. And you get ESPN involved and you get Under Armour involved. And that's how you cover the cost of it. And since it's going to be a marquee event anyway, and the Under Armour event normally is every year, right? Why don't you just precede that with a national championship game between 2 worthy national programs?
Yeah, and there's some good comments here. Adam Glover, I was at the oh gosh, who was that? That team from I know who you're talking about, brother. By the way, that coach for SFA, he is the interim Michigan coach now. In case you guys didn't hear about that. Adam Glover, don't know if you knew about that, but anyway,
You
you
mean
remember?
from St. Francis Academy?
Yes,
What?
yes. He's the interim head coach at Michigan now.
Wow.
Got a funny name.
Yeah.
But so Jose Padilla, I want to suggest for you to do a fan calls again someday, but I think we're going to have a lot of fans like Legend on Feinbaum, St. Francis Academy. Thank you, Adam. And Larry got it as well. Toby Passmore, California is the same. They've got a 15-game limit. So yeah, so like Larry said, you've got some really some major obstacles to overcome. And like I said, the Geico, the Paragon Marketing Group,
Yeah.
they have tried this. Okay. So they're trying it's a facsimile thereof. Like I said, it's not, when I bring this up, people say, oh, you can't do that. And I get it. Guys, I'm just talking about, let's get something close to it. Because what we've got now, like you've got, like we mentioned, Carrollton and Buford are going to play for the state championship in Georgia. And the winner is very likely going to be not only the state title, state champion, but they're going to be the national champion.
Yeah.
But so that's one way of just having like Max Preps, ESPN 300, and so I don't know. It's just something I've always it's been a kind of a dream of mine, for us to eventually get to that. But you're right. There's a lot of major
Yeah.
stumbling blocks to do that.
So that
Larry?
coach's name is
Yep.
Masai Halamariam. Phil, you there?
Yeah, I don't think that's
I
him.
thought you just kind of froze up on me there.
No, I thought the guy that took over, that's the interim coach at Michigan, is Biff somebody.
Okay, so I don't know if he's the Maybe he's a St. Francis assistant coach. I don't know.
So Dean Fabrizio is the one that told me.
Well, Biff
Jose,
Biff
yeah,
Poggi
that's him.
is the interim coach.
That's him.
He
What a
looks like a
name.
Biff.
He does, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a Biff. That's a Biff.
Wasn't he in Back to the Future? No, that was a different guy.
You killing me. Oh man. All right. Well, Larry, if I'll give you the final word, brother. I'm done. I appreciate everybody checking in. Larry, you can take us out of here, brother. Give you the final word. What you got?
Phil, I'm going to leave you and your audience with this thought to stew on all
I
weekend.
love it, Adam. I
To
love it,
stew
Adam.
on all weekend, to maybe when you guys come back and join us on Monday evening, you
Yes.
can bring this up. Phil, I think it's time for the GHSA to do something different at the highest classification with their playoffs. I think the era of super assembled teams is really hurting high school football, especially at the highest classification. So I think for the purposes of the playoffs, I think the GHSA should create an open division for the purpose of allowing teams, if they want to have these super assembled teams, let them do it. And what that means is turn open the spigot, let them recruit, let them transfer, let them do whatever they want to build their super assembled teams. But for the purposes of the playoffs, create an open division and put these teams in it. The GHSA is kind of doing this now at the private school level in the lower classifications, right? There was an outcry with the public schools that said they couldn't compete with their super assembled private league teams. And so what did the GHSA do? They created, in the form of a playoff, a separate playoff for the privates in the lower classifications. I think the time has come in the highest classification to do something similar and create an open division for these super athlete teams.
Isn't that what they've done in Florida? Or am I?
Florida created a metro versus rural classification difference.
Gotcha.
So anyway,
Well,
so that's
guys,
the bombshell thought that I had. You
yeah.
guys can stew on that, get upset with me, and come back and breathe fire on Monday's show.
Larry, thanks, buddy. Appreciate you, man. Thanks, guys, everybody. Appreciate everybody's comments tonight. I appreciate everybody showing up. Like Larry said, we'll be back with you Monday night to talk all about these state championship games. We'll give it one more go through. But remember, Monday, 5:30. And Jose Padilla, Adam Clover, I love y'all's thoughts there, buddy. Appreciate everybody's comments.
Have a good night, guys. Have a great weekend. God bless
We'll see you
you.
Monday. Absolutely. Absolutely.